In the heart of the Uduma Desert, where the sun scorches the earth, there was a village called Udik, and in this village, there was a man named Kolu who was highly respected because of his wealth and opulence. He had 3 wives and they all had different personalities. His first wife was Neka. With her beautiful eyes and fiery look, she was always at the top of her game. She was always interested in making herself look good for her husband. She always wanted the latest wrappers, beads, and jewelry. She was also a woman who didn't accept rubbish from people. She was ready to fight with anyone who stood in her way. His second wife was Amoka. She had a gentle but very calculating look. She was a trader in the village market and was also a very meticulous woman who never let anyone cheat her. She wasn't troublesome, only interested in running her business. His third wife was Zora. She was a beautiful and peaceful woman blessed with the gift of herbs. She knew different types of herbs and their uses. People from far and near came to her for herbs for different kinds of ailments. Even though it looked like Kolu had it all, he was still unhappy. That was because he didn't have a child. This problem gave him sleepless nights, and the once happy man started looking like a shadow of himself. Even the villagers started gossiping and mocking him. His predicament became a topic whenever there was any gathering in the village. He even stopped eating any food his wives prepared because he was not pleased with them. His wives were very disturbed and they were all looking for solutions to their various barrenness. With the knowledge of herbs Zara had, she prepared herbal medicine for she and her co-wives. They all took it with the hopes of getting pregnant, but nothing happened. They consulted diviners and went through various rituals, but the story remained the same. They decided to visit the oldest woman in the village who was a powerful seer, and she gave them just one instruction. She told them to dance round the ancient tree in the village 7 times, for 7 days, and they should plant some flowers in front of the tree on the last day. She also warned them to avoid any distraction and to make sure to complete the 7 days dance. Neka started her own, but on the 3rd day she gave up because she heard that there was a spirit who changes into different forms that can grant her request quickly. So she went in search of the spirit, and when she found him, she asked him to give her a son. He promised to grant her request, but on a condition that he would take anything from her whenever he wants. She agreed without thinking because she was desperate to bear a child. Amoka, on the other hand, danced round the tree for only 5 days when she found out that there was a man in the market who sells scrolls that contain spells that can grant any wish. She visited the man and he gave her a spell to recite, and at midnight, she chanted the spell and asked for a son. Zora, knowing that her co-wives didn't finish their dance, refused to be distracted. She completed her dance and planted her flowers. Every early morning, she would kneel before the tree and ask for a son, and in the evenings, she would sit quietly beside the tree. After some time, the 3 of them became pregnant at the same time, and Kolu's joy knew no bounds. Whenever he passed in the village, people always celebrated with him because he would soon be a father. Some months later, Zara gave birth to a son and he was named Obina. The entire community came to rejoice with Kolu. There was enough to eat and drink, and the whole village was happy. Even in the midst of this happiness, Neka was very bitter. She was angry because she thought she would give birth first. Amoka wasn't happy too, but she didn't let it bother her. She continued with her business and hoped to give birth soon. 3 days later, Amoka gave birth to a son who was named Ezina. Kolu, being so happy, held another celebration in honor of his second son, and Neka's anger escalated. She became so angry because her child lost both the first and second position. She finally gave birth the next day, and another feast was held. He was named Nana. Having a son didn't make Neka fulfilled because she was jealous of the way Kolu loved Zora's son. She wanted all the attention to be on her own son, so she went back to the shape-shifting spirit and asked him to help her. He reminded her that he had not collected his dues for the first wish he granted, but he still told her what to do. At midnight, according to the spirit's instruction, she took the pot he gave her and called the name of Zora's son 3 times. She said that she wanted him dead and that she also wanted her son to be her husband's favorite. When she was done, she went to bed. Early the next day, the sound of cries filled Kolu's compound. People gathered around Zora and were consoling her because her son had died in his sleep. Nneka was very happy because the first part of the charm worked and now she felt at peace. Every day, Zora would sit in front of her hut and mourn the loss of her child. She was very sad because she knew how much she needed that child. Her co-wives would always console her, but it didn't reduce or take away the pain she felt. Kolu was sad about his son's death, but he took solace in the fact that he had 2 other sons. Seeing that Zora's son was dead, Amoka took that as an opportunity to cast a spell on her husband so that he would only favor she and her son. Nneka, on the other hand, was angry because the second spell she cast didn't work. She had a best friend called Ngozi who advised her to visit a native doctor in the other village. When she saw the old man, she told him her problem, but he told her that he won't grant her request because she has innocent blood on her hands. He told her that if she doesn't confess her evil, it would destroy her. She went back and told her friend that the native doctor couldn't help her, but she didn't tell her the real reason why. As the boys grew, Amoka and Nneka started arguing about whose son will inherit their husband's properties. Kolu, seeing the commotion in his house, started thinking of sharing his properties. He called his wives together and told them that he would share his properties equally among the 3 of them. Nneka immediately rejected the idea because Zora, who was childless, could not have the same amount of inheritance like her. She also said that since she was the first wife, the quantity of Amoka's inheritance should be reduced. Amoka immediately stopped her from talking and they both started arguing and exchanging words. Because of their husband's decision, Nneka and Amoka formed an alliance against Zora. Their plan was to frustrate and make her give up her inheritance. They would always fight with her and this made the house unbearable for Zora. Then she turned to the ancient tree for help. She cried and poured her heart before the tree and suddenly, an old woman appeared before her. She told her to dry her tears and go home and promised her that everything will be fine. A few months later, Zora became pregnant again and this made her co-wives angry because they won't be able to collect anything from her. They decided to kill her and so Amoka went to see a native doctor who prepared a charm in a calabash for her. He told her to call Zora's name 7 times and bury the calabash, and he warned her not to let the calabash touch the ground until the ritual is complete, unless the consequences would be severe. At midnight, they started the ritual, but in the process the calabash fell from their hands and touched the floor. Instantly they both became blind. Nneka started calling for help and when people came, she started confessing. She told them how she and Amoka tried to kill Zora and also how she killed Zora's son. On hearing that, Zora wept uncontrollably. The next day, a decision was made and they were banished from the village. They wept and begged but no one listened to their pleas. Kolu and Zora were grateful that evil had left their household, so they moved on with their lives. After some time, Zora gave birth to another son and despite all that was done to her, she loved Nneka and Amoka's sons like her own. Kolu lived happily with his wife and sons and his joy was knew no bounds.